All right, looks like I'm live here. Welcome, guys, to the 24th Dad Surviving Divorce live stream. Hopefully everything is running okay. Fortunately, I have my air conditioner on and some fans running. So if that is annoying, please let me know. And let me try to make sure that I'm streaming. So it looks like it says I got a good stream. Trying to make sure I don't have an echo anywhere. Test 1 2, test 1 2. And let's see here. So, all right, let me go back over here and go to the watch page to see what's going on and see what we have. All right, so it looks like we have a few people in. So hopefully I sound okay. If you guys can hear and see me, if you can just pop in and let me know, I would appreciate that. Hopefully the audio and everything sounds good. I bumped the stream up to the 720 to an HD signal, so sometimes that causes problems. Hopefully it won't. So while everyone's coming in, I'm trying something different. Hopefully you guys are going to like this. It may not, but we're going to check it out. But while we're waiting for that, looks like we have a few people popping in. Okay, now I got to remember how to do all this because I'm changing my codes around. Okay, so again, the main links on this is the Dwayne at dadsurvivingdivorce.com if you want to email me, and the website. I'm going to talk a little bit about the forum. A little bit later in this. So I'm not ready to let it go or release it. But what I may do on this, and I'll talk about it in a minute, is people who are on the newsletter. I'll send you a link in a couple of days whenever I have it almost live to try to get some tests on that. Okay, so see, now I got to figure out what. All right, let me try this. Okay, so let me make this a little bit bigger. All right, so hopefully you guys can read that if you're watching in the preview window. And okay, so the topic, I mean, we'll modify this topic as we go, but one of the things I want to talk about a little bit was hybrid no contact, because I have a situation that I'm dealing with, and I figured I would walk you guys through my thought process on it to where you can see what I'm thinking, and it might help with the concept of hybrid no contact. So hopefully you guys will like that. So let's see, we got a few people in. You can see if you're watching in the thing, you can see I'm rebroadcasting the comments. So we got Savvy Duns, welcome to the live stream, glad you could make it. Joan, welcome, and from New Zealand. Wow, so it's late there, so welcome. HK, I think you're new, so welcome to the live stream and welcome to the channel. EMJ, glad you could make it. Carrie Moore, I think you're new too, so welcome to the live stream and welcome to the channel. So thanks for joining us. Bless her health. Oh, I haven't seen you in a while. So let's see. It says, hey, sorry all, I've been MIA, ex-convinced CPS that I'm crazy and mentally unstable, and they've been up my behind. She actually told me to get a lobotomy. Awesome to be gaslighted again. Yeah, sorry about that. That's yeah. See, they just don't stop. Well, and I'll when I dive into this email, I want to talk about. We'll get into that, and you'll understand. Not that you'll understand it, but hopefully you'll see. I mean, if you look at my situation, 6 years into or 5 years into the, basically, I think in a few weeks it'll be 5 years actually divorced, and the same silliness is going. Oh, Schaefer1234, welcome. Glad you could make it. Glad you got on early because I think you missed it, or not missed it, but well, I just dropped something. Oh, it was a battery for the camera. Sorry about that. I moved some papers and it made a bunch of noise. So. Okay, so what I want to try to do here is, let me see if I can figure out how I'm going to do this. And I have the slide set up for the email, but I have to, let me give you a little bit of a backstory first. And let's see, what if I went like this? Okay, so while we're doing this, you know what, never mind, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it like that. Okay, so I'm going to do this in two parts. I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory about the story that's currently going on with me, and hopefully I can explain it quickly and well enough. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the hybrid no contact and the technique. I wish I would have wrote down how I said it before so I had the steps right, but I do it constantly, so hopefully this isn't, let me tighten this up. Okay, so hopefully you guys can hear me okay, and hopefully this obnoxious microphone isn't annoying. All right, so the backstory on this is a few weeks ago, or maybe a month or so ago, Debbie had interacted with the ex, and in the midst of that interaction, she gave her a calendar because there's some stuff that she wants to do, that Debbie wants to do with the kids coming up and wants to protect the time. This is my year for vacation priority. So basically whatever I pick trumps whatever the other person picks. So, typically that means that whatever I do is, whatever dates I pick it's golden. But as you can probably guess, there's a caveat when you're dealing with somebody who is devious, right? Okay, so in that, the first part of June is what she had said was what we were planning on doing. And initially it was like, hey, no, great, that's great. The ex was saying, there's no big deal about that, that'll work fine. So the next part about that, and I've talked a little bit about it in a couple of other videos, and I think probably other live streams, there was an email a couple of weeks after, or, basically a few weeks ago that I didn't get, that my daughter mentioned that, because I have my ex's email go in a different direction, so I don't actively look for it, just because I've in the previous videos I've talked about working on preparing for PTSD and stuff like that, or what you can do to do that. A lot of those mechanisms still in place, and they still just function that way. Okay, so what happened is, whoops, sorry, that was loud, is my middle daughter's best friend, who used to live in this area, moved like 6 years ago, has spent a few years in Germany, and then when they came back from Germany, they ended up in, not Oklahoma, in Florida. So my daughter's been wanting to meet up with her friend for a long time. Now, her friend's mom and my ex are friends, so it's more on that side of the house, I guess, if you want to say. So basically the email was, hey, and I'll go ahead and use the dates because it doesn't matter. It's like, hey, they're going to be in the area from the 12th through the 13th. Can we make this work? Yada, yada. She hasn't seen her, whatever. And it's actually, typically it's the ex's days. So she basically, what she was trying to do, and what she was trying to do is say they were going to go, it's going to be a girls only thing. So mommy and the two daughters can go, and the other mom and their kids can go, but my son can't go. And she's saying, okay, well, we're doing this. We're going to be back late on Wednesday, so the transition time won't be at the normal time, and you have to watch our son. Now, I've talked to you before about the whole thing about, him being 18, and really, he needs someone to watch him. It's kind of ridiculous. Hold on a second. Let me look at something. Okay. So now to break this down, you can, if you look at it just at face value, you can see, okay, well, all right, it's a legitimate concern. No, it's a fishing expedition, right? She's playing this up to try to pretty good guess, because of the information that Debbie had sent her, that this is right in the middle of our vacation time, which it was. And I hadn't sent anything about it to yet. Hold on, let me see if this is scrolling. And I'm going to have to, I'll do this and I'll check the comments as we're going. So I'll finish this part of the story. I'll look at some of the comments, and then I'll continue on. All right. So anyways, so now you have this scenario where it's right in the middle of my time and what to do, So I sent a note saying, hey, no problem. I still want that. We happen to be in my week. I want that week, and we'll swap time. And so that kind of is a lead up to this, right? So now keep in mind that whenever it got to the point that discussion happened, she had texted me, which I had missed because she sent it to me at work, and it was just like, you need to answer my emails, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I just ignored it because I was busy working. So when I picked up my kids for that week when the transition happened, my daughter was like really excited, saying, hey, mommy sent you an email, sent you a text, and my friend's going to be in town, and I want to go, and it's going to be really great. I'm like, okay. So got to the point where you know, basically I'm in a double bind, right? Because there's nothing I can do on this. If I say no, then I'm the jerk that's not allowing, you know, my daughter to see her best friend. I guess technically, well, I could say yes, except it was right in the middle of when we were going to do our vacation time. So it's, you know, so that part's complicated. All right, so let me pause for a second and just double check where we are on the comments. And I'll scroll up a little bit. So, oh, it looks like there's not too much. Okay. Let's see here. MCI, welcome. Oh, cool. You might actually be able to say the whole time. That's great. And I don't know how to pronounce that. So I'll say GFU. You're doing good things. What does it mean to be drained by the narc? And then Mitchell says he's here. So welcome. Glad you can make it. Joan says, Dwayne, my ex-narc is playing the good father and is suddenly supporting and paying for the kids. This has me worried. He suddenly wants to be involved in their lives again. Well, so I tell you what, I'll go ahead and, so I'm kind of doing this a little bit different. Normally I don't have a topic that I really want to hit. So let me, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to make a copy of it, and then we'll get back to it when we get farther down. And I'm going to think, and because that's a really good question, and I do have some opinions on that. Okay, so let me make sure that we're here. And HK deleted a message. I didn't see that. Hopefully, I guess technically I did, because it'll be in the recorded thing. So that's the only bad thing. Hey guys, just on that, I mean, since I'm actually showing what the comments are, you know, your name's there, it's out there. So just be aware that, you know, I mean, before I would just read the comments and I would read some of the names. So there was some of that, but now I'm actually putting it out there. So just be cautious of that if you're worried about it. Okay, so leche por favor, if I said that right, leche por favor. I also learned that visitation has to be drawn out exactly with detail. So it looks like I missed a comment that you may have made. Oh, thank you for doing this. The one thing that has taught me was emails and texting do not work. I'm glad that we started using Talking Parents immediately. Oh, absolutely. Talking Parents and where I'm at, it's Our Family Wizard. Basically, it's a third-party system that you have to pay for that tracks all the communication. And typically, and more than likely on that one, to Talking Parents is supposed to be accessible to the court, the judges, the social workers, and all that stuff, so that, you know, they can see what the communication is, and it's there, right? So it's like, you know, somebody isn't able to modify the emails or play shenanigans on it. If you guys have any opportunity to use one of those systems, I would highly recommend it. As I've talked to you before, when using email, it's real easy for the other parent to say, I mean, I dealt with that for years. You know, it's like, did you get my email? Oh, I'm having email troubles. Oh, did you send me that? You know, and I'm going to get into that a little bit in the hybrid no contact, because in a certain way, I kind of do that now too, but there's a thought process behind it. All right. So, okay, so hopefully I set the story up enough for this conversation. Now, I received an email. You know, actually, let me do this way. Let me see if I can pull the text on this. So, okay, so what I'll do is I'll grab this and I'm gonna drop it into some slides. I should have probably prepared this before, but I failed. I failed in that regard. So what I'll do is I'll say name, and I'll just go into, all right. And then I will duplicate that again. And sorry guys, I should have did this before, but that darn work thing kind of gets in the way sometimes, so it complicates things a little bit. All right, so we got that one. Okay, and paste. Hi, and I'm trying to redact the names. Well, except mine, because you guys know me, so that doesn't matter. Okay, so, all right. So in the course of that discussion, and I had sent an email, which I don't think I have a copy of that, so I'm not going to pull that one up. Yeah, and this email chain is it's just this. So and I think this will show you, or this will help. So let me see if is it A? Now I got to figure out what my key codes are to see if this works. So okay, all right. So so this was the email after I sent the email saying, hey, how about we do the swap thing and drop the kids off? I get this email from her. Said, I made appointments for the kids. Why do you need to drop the kids off in the morning on the 5th? Thank you. Right. And now I will say, when I first read this email, I was thinking, are you kidding me? You made appointments on the 5th, which is a Monday, for the eye appointment. And I was like, you know what? Forget it. Whatever. I'll take the kids or reschedule or whatever. And it was a trick, right? This was a trick email to combining two different things to try to drive that conversation, right? To try to get me to respond saying that, to get mad about it, right? And I'm like, you know what? Okay, so here's the thing. So I'll talk a little bit about the hybrid no contact on this. So you get this email, right? Now this is pretty benign. It seems pretty benign, but we all know about the nuances behind things that are really triggering and are really annoying. So like I said, when I first read this, I made eye appointments for the kids. Why do you need me to drop the kids off in the morning of the 5th? Now, I immediately assumed, one, this is the first time she's made eye appointments for the kids in the last 4 years. So, there's that. So she's trying to engage in that way. And then the assumption is that, she's made these appointments for the same day, which it wasn't. It was actually a different day. And, why do you need it for the kids? Now, even if I knew that the appointments were a different day, the thing of why do you need me to drop the kids off in the morning of the 5th? Now, keep in mind, I'm talking about swapping times. So initially, whenever I said, hey, no problem, I want the 12th and the 13th as my vacation time, that's fine. I'll keep it that way, but I want to swap those Monday and Tuesday with the previous Monday and Tuesday, and everything will be fine. And initially I had said, and I wish I brought it up, but I didn't, but initially I had made the comment that, okay, I'll drop the kids off at 6 on Monday. You can drop the kids at 6 p.m. on Monday. That's the normal transition time. And she blew a gasket. Now, she didn't blow a gasket and say what the deal was. And you know what? I should have pulled up all these other emails, and I didn't. But so here's the thing. So I looked at this email, and initially I got angry, and then I waited, okay? And then as I waited, let me see if I can pull up the next one. Let's see if this works. Okay. So my response... And keep in mind, I paused and I looked at it and I said, well, let me go back again. So I said initially, I'm like, okay, do I need to respond? Do I care about the eye appointments? No, don't need to respond on that. Wasn't worried about it. And then it's like, okay, so what about the morning of the 5th? Now, part of this whole thing is for it to just to be fair. Now, to be perfectly brutally honest, it doesn't necessarily matter to me. It would be kind of nice to get them a little bit earlier to do something. But my going in position is I don't want to cause an argument. To be perfectly honest, if it wasn't for the fact that we had something planned, I would try to move this around completely. I would have just moved the weeks, right? Because I hadn't officially said what my vacation time actually was. So the second part of this is, it's like establishing some boundaries, but I don't necessarily have a dog in the fight. So it's not that I'm irritated saying I need the, okay, fine. What I was going to do on the kids on the 12th, I'm going to do on the 5th. And I need, and I was going to have them on that time anyways, because it was my weekend. So there wouldn't have been a break. I mean, we could have got up at 2:00 in the morning and did something. Not that we were planning on it. All right. So in trying to think about how to respond to this, I'm looking at it saying, okay, the eye appointment doesn't matter. The only thing that really matters is the thing on the 5th. Now I don't necessarily care, but I'm still trying to establish some type of boundary. So what I had sent is, like I told you guys before, I normally do hi. I always say hi. I don't say hey. I don't just put the name. It's hi, blank, or the name, comma, and then the comment. Now this is actually a little bit longer than what I typically send. So my response was, because it would be fair and give me time to make up what we were going to do the following week. How about whatever time you drop the girls off will be the same time I drop them off on the 12th, sent from my phone. Okay, so now going back to that other email, trying to look at it, and I went through different iterations of this. it's like, okay, so what am I going to say on this to minimize communication, but still get my point across? And like I said, technically this email is more than what I would like to say, but it was really important to lock in the 5th and the 6th and to have some transition there, right? And to be perfectly honest, the timing on it is just, basically it is just to be fair. We all get really irritated about having to bow to the other person, allow them to do whatever they want, and it gets frustrating. Like I said before, if we didn't have something planned within this time frame, because I hadn't already set it up, I would have moved the time and said, okay, and I wouldn't have cared, right? And that's part of the thing, is like choosing your battles, okay? This one's a little more complicated because we do have some stuff planned. Now, I will tell you this, that had we had some extensive trip planned, it would have been catastrophic. She's already working on my daughter about this trip. Last Wednesday during the transition, took the kids to therapy. We went to dinner afterwards. I asked them the question, what are you looking forward to the most? What are you looking forward to the most for the summer vacation? My daughter says, I want to see my best friend. That's what I'm really looking forward to. And I'm like, great. And what I had said at that time, I said, great, I'm working with your mom to work out the transition things. She went on, my 16-year-old went off on me in the restaurant saying, this isn't about you. This is about me. This is so I can see my friend, whatever. And I'm like, whoa, yeah, absolutely. You're going to see your friend, relax. I don't get, calm down. And, even my son at the time, he got upset. He's like, change the subject. He jumped in the conversation like, let's change the subject. I don't want to talk about this. Let's change the subject. So it took a conversation down to the pit of hell, right? Now, you're going to see in this next email that I got in response to this where all this is coming from. So let me scroll down a little bit to make sure I haven't if everything's okay. And okay, so I'm still going to go up in a minute. All right. So hopefully you guys aren't getting bored on this, and hopefully this is going okay. We still got people there. We got 23 people, and all right. And I'm almost done with this, and hopefully you guys are appreciating this. Okay. So the next thing that came up was this. Okay, so this was the email. It says, I will drop the kids off at noon on the 5th, provided you will be home. If not, I can drop them off as soon as you get home, if you like. I am agreeing to your demands because this 2-day trip is for Desiree. It isn't for me, nor was it my idea, but she deserves every opportunity to see her best friend. Thanks, and then her name. Now, I'm not sure how you guys are reading this, but I mean, it's like, it's silly, right? I mean, there were no demands. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the previous email. There wasn't a demand in it. Okay, so now this is the email I got. I don't know. It was either yesterday or maybe it was the day before. I don't remember when I got it. Every time I get an email from her, I don't really, unless there's something critical. Okay, so if I just got this email, this is my process. All right, for hybrid no contact with email communications. I get this email, it pops in my box. I read it. It's kind of irritating, right? It's snarky right off the back. I'll drop them off provided I'm at home. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure. I think what that is that's a fishing expedition to try to figure out what's going on. What did you have planned? Because her whole thing on this is a target of opportunity. I don't necessarily think that she scheduled this around that time. But I do think that whenever this came up, it was a target of opportunity to screw with whatever we did. And what I will say is, rolling back for a moment, when I was talking to my daughter about this thing, one of the things she said is, let me back up. I said, oh, absolutely, you're going to see your friend. I know you've been wanting to do that. I said, and I get it. I said, no matter what, it's going to trump it. I said, if we had bought tickets to go to Hawaii and she immediately jumped in and goes, I wouldn't go. I want to see my friend. I wouldn't go. You guys, I'm just not going to go. I'm just like, which I knew it was, I knew, right? It's like, okay, so the ex, in my opinion, or not necessarily orchestrated this, but it was a target of opportunity to ruin anything that we had planned. Now, we have done things in the past, not necessarily where it was a week-long trip, but we have had stuff planned that, had this been one of those years and things weren't as complicated as they are, we probably would have had plans and we probably would have had stuff scheduled and it would have just been obliterated because of this trip. So, I mean, I knew going into this that it was a lost cause. I mean, I had conversations, Deb and I had chatted about this, and she's like, forget this, tell her no, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm like, I can't. There's no win on this. If I turn around and I say no, or even if we had something really planned and I said, sorry, you're not going, you're going with us, it would have been catastrophic. It would have ruined the trip. Fortunately, we didn't have anything significantly planned. All right. Back. So anyways, so you have that first part of the comment. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. So my first phase on this is I read through it and it's like, is there any crisis in this email? First paragraph telling me when they're going to drop it off. Even though it's snarky, if I'm home, whatever. I already resigned myself that I'm going to have to take both those Mondays off to deal with it, or Debbie's going to have to be over to pick the kids and to be here when the kids are dropped off. So there's nothing to respond to on the other one. And then the second part of it, I am agreeing to your demands because this 2-day trip is for Desiree. It isn't for me, nor was it my idea, but she deserves every opportunity to see your best friend. Okay, so again, do I want to respond? Oh, absolutely. Was I demanding anything? No, I was just trying to be reasonable. It's like, okay, you want to do this. It was in the middle of my time. I never said in the other emails, which I should have brought these things up. I should have made comments about that, or not made comments about it. I should have showed you guys those things, but I mean, I didn't, when all this other stuff was going on, I wasn't being, I'm like, okay, all right, this is what we're going to do. This is my compromise. And then she complained about the compromise. So I recompromised. So it's silly. It's looking for drama, right? Okay. So again, sorry about that. Is there anything that you really need to respond to? No. Do I need to respond about her demeaning, condescending thing about agreeing to demands? No. I mean, do I want? In the past, I would have absolutely responded saying, I'm not demanding anything. I'm trying to just be fair, be fair. I mean, and I could have said a whole laundry list of things, but that feeds into the chaos. It feeds into that narcissistic supply, and there's absolutely nothing to accomplish. So again, when you get something like this, you read through it and decide what is there a reason to respond? To be perfectly honest, I'm leaning towards on this entire email not responding at all. The best case, or not best case, but what I might respond to, if I do respond, is just to say, okay. Right? Because bottom line, she's going to bring the kids over at 12. Would I like them earlier? It basically ruins a day. There's nothing we're going to be able to do. It's not going to, give me the opportunity to go anywhere where really with them. We might be able to if we went a little bit later. So the day's not completely lost. But, and then part of it was, instead of trying to negotiate what time she wanted, I'm like, look, you just tell me, you drop the kids off whenever you want them, and that'll be fair. If she wanted me to drop, if she said 6:00 in the morning, then I would have sat on the couch, unlocked the door, and waited for the kids to come in. Okay. So, and I'll look at the comments here in a minute. Hopefully I haven't messed this up, but I hope you guys see the process on this. So if you look at this, maybe in going through it, you might have even been triggered on some of it. This is all pretty benign. I should have brought in some of the other stuff that was a little more annoying, but I think hopefully you get the point, right? So that's how I went through it. And initially I will say, I did get a little irritated on some of the stuff, but it went away at this stage of the game. If that stuff flares up, it goes down really quick. And then I just like, okay, I'll look at it a little bit later. And, realistically on this, the only appropriate response is, okay, if I respond at all. And it would be hi, name, okay. I could, and it would be tempting to say, okay, I agree to your demands, right? Or something stupid like that, which I'm not going to. All right, so let me go back here. Okay, so now so you guys let me know what you thought about that. Let me roll back over here and try to catch up. Let me look at what's going on. Mommy and Mo says, how do you get them to use these? The only way you can get them to use them is you have to have it court ordered. The mistake I had in my court order is it was recommended. It was like basically both parties could continue to use, blah, blah, blah. And it was optional. It's like, or you can use Our Family Wizard if you want to. Well, since it was optional, I couldn't make her do it. So that's why I've said in other videos talking about like Our Family Wizard or that parent, Talking Parents, is make sure make sure it's ordered. Say you know both parties will use and pay for, Our Family Wizard, our Talking Parents, and all communications will be routed through that. Initially, you might not want to because it's cost, right? I mean, I think Our Family Wizard is $100 per person per year. The kids are free, but so it's $200, right? $100 for you, $100 for them to do that. I'm assuming Talking Parents is about the same. So you have to have it court ordered. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, Kev is on. Welcome, Kev. Glad you could make it. And I'm not sure, I'm a little behind on my little rant. Hey guys, let me know what you thought about my whole little thing about the hybrid no contact. We're moving past that, but if you want to talk about that, or no, I mean, I'd like to know what you thought about it. Okay. Okay, Dansky says, Dwayne, we all know the line in the sand can only be moved on their time. Hashtag all about them. Yeah, and the secret is getting to the point where it doesn't matter, where you don't care where that line is, and you don't give them that power. It's tough though, because right, if there's something that is important to you, I mean, like I was talking about just a few minutes ago about the vacation, there was some stuff that we do have planned. Technically, the 12th and the 13th isn't really when it was. It was basically that previous weekend. But that was the thing that we were trying to protect, right? And I think that she just was hoping that it would obliterate what was going on. And to be perfectly honest, like I said, with the way my daughter responded, it would have. If it was, I mean, it was a smooth, narcissistic, double bind move that she made. Okay. Whoops. Oh, darn, I got to scroll up. Oh, man, I hate it whenever it all blows past. Sorry about that, guys. Dang it. There we go. Okay. All right. So Kev says, the ex-narc and I had mediation, and it didn't go well for her. She is so upset that she has taken my daughter's phone and blocked me. Disgustingly sad. Oh, absolutely. Was there any doubt in your mind that she was going to do that? And you're going to have to get to the point where she's ordered not to do that. And the thing is see, every time something happens, they lash out to try to find a way to hurt you. So Kev, on that, so if your mediation went well and she's mad, so be happy about that. Understand that you're going to have to deal with this, and this is going to be a transition, and try not to get angry about it. Again, that goes back to when I talk about reacting rationally instead of emotionally. And it's tough because that is really annoying. Okay, so Dan Ski, hello. I think I already said that, but if not, welcome to the live stream. So Mommy and Mo, hey, welcome. I know you haven't been able to get on, so I'm glad you were able to make it. And Mommy, she says, sorry, Kev, that is so awful for your daughters too. Now, see, the other thing to remember on this is, this is annoying, but the benefit of it is, if you can think of it as a benefit, is that she's exposing herself. She's now lashing out, overtly doing stuff to her daughter, and that helps in some ways. Now, your child is still going to ignore a lot of it, but when they're doing stupid stuff like this, it actually helps in a really messed up way of thinking. And if you're still, since you're early stages in it with them doing this, now, the best part about that, Kev, is document it and then use it. Say, hey, we have temporary visitation that I'm supposed to be able to call my daughter, and because of this, she took it away and took my daughter's phone and blocked me. So she's taken my daughter's phone and blocked me. And honestly, she handed you a piece of evidence that you're going to be able to use in court. And her excuse is probably going to be, I'm assuming that she's paying for the phone. So she's paying for the phone. She gets to decide and whatever. And if you're paying for the phone, it doesn't matter, Kev. I mean, either way, document that and then use that to demonstrate her being unreasonable. Now, is that going to be a silver bullet where the courts just go, oh my God, this is horrible and grant you everything? Probably not. But at this stage, you're building that case, you're building that information to build that story. Okay. And that one comment that I had, I'm going to go back to. I'm just going to try to catch up in the comments. Okay, so Nicholas, welcome to the live stream. If Lar, I'm about to go into mediation with my narc. How did it not go well for your narc? I need inspiration. And then Dansky says, sorry to hear that. All about control, trying to set you off. Absolutely. Helena says, also, it is messed up that she blocked you. Yeah. Initially when I read that, I was thinking that she blocked him on her phone. But what I read that is she blocked him on her daughter's phone. So now he cannot contact his daughter on her cell phone, which is just ridiculous. Kev says, absolutely a narc control issue. Absolutely. Sedansky says, Dwayne, we all know the line in the sand can... I already read that one. Sorry about that. And bless her health says, absolutely, Dansky. So Kev says, my ex-narc made it very apparent that she had all the demands and the mediator sniffed that out. It was surprising. I wish you well in mediation. So, see, and that's the other thing. I mean, and I said that in a video the other day that you get fearful that they're going to, actually I did it in an interview. So on that, on a separate note, guys, I did my first interview for another channel that I'll be posting in a few weeks. So I'll be sure to give you guys that so you can check it out. But anyways, what I was saying is that just because they're saying stuff doesn't mean it's true and doesn't mean everyone's going to believe it. Now, that was mainly talking about false allegations. But again, if they're being controlling, which typically narcissists are, if you allow them to expose themselves, they will. So on that, who is the other person who was going? Oh, Helena. So, just be calm, rational. If there are some ways that you can covertly push their buttons to get them to expose themselves, that's all the better. The problem with mediation is it's not necessarily, I mean, it's binding if you come up with an agreement, but it's not like a court thing, right? I mean, they're going to work to try to foster an agreement, but, depending on what happens, I mean, to be perfectly honest, Kev, I'm surprised that she just didn't shut it down and say we're going to court. And more than likely, that's probably what's going to happen because she's not going to want to agree with anything through mediation. Sorry about that. Hopefully I wasn't swallowing in the mic. And so Helena's, okay, so I got to scroll back down. Okay. So Savvy says examples are great to see. Thanks. So I'm assuming that's on the documents I was talking about. Yeah, Helena, you're going to be anxious because it's going to be stressful, but just try to get your anxiety and your stress under control. Try to remain as calm as possible. If you can take somebody with you, I know they can't go into mediation, but just, a lifeline to help you be focused and calm, definitely do that. Okay. Oh, Mommy Mo says this is helpful. Savvy says a lot of snarkiness in there and unnecessary wording. I thought I did okay. No, I know you're talking about. Yeah, it's just stupid. Dan, so I was trying to make a joke there. Hopefully that was funny. Dansky says, Deban has to be one of those narc favorites. Yeah, and it's funny, on that, she used to say that during the whole thing, I was like, I'm controlling and I'm like the least, I can have my opinion, but for the most part, I'm a pretty easygoing guy. And Debbie had actually run into somebody who used to know her a few years back, and they were talking about her. And that was the one comment that the lady made that she didn't necessarily like her, and said she was really controlling. So that was an interesting. It's interesting to get that validation from other people. Especially because, I look back on it and I didn't see it. I was so blinded. I was so in denial that I didn't see it. I didn't think she was controlling. I see it now. I mean, you can see it in the email. Okay, so leche por favor. In my situation, the Army was involved. I also have a court order and stopped responding to everything else. We just started the divorce process, so that may or may not continue. For now, it works. Yeah, I think you're talking about hybrid no contact. It's when we have kids and no contact is not an option, which it really isn't. I think the hybrid no contact framework to help you not engage and only really communicate when you absolutely have to is it changes the dynamic of everything, and it really reduces your stress and your anxiety. Savvy says, yeah, always projecting with their wording. Yep. So Mommy Mo says, good for you. It will be organized. So silly they refuse to use it. Talking about our family wizard and talking parents. Yeah, I mean, if once you get to the point where you can get them to stop being silly about it. But the problem with typical emails is you don't have read receipts. So you don't necessarily get to know when they read it or if they read it. So our family wizard and talking parents, I'm sure talking parents the same way, is better because when you send something, you're going to know when they opened it, right? So if they wait 3 weeks to open it, you're going to know. If they open it, in 15 minutes and then they don't respond, you're going to know that as well. Emails are tough because when you send them, they're in a black hole. Wow, okay. Didn't necessarily mean using that term, but basically that's what it is. You send it out there and you really don't have any way of knowing if it works. Now, what I've started to use, and I've talked about this before, I use this little app, or not an app, but it's a service called readnotify.com. And I send the email, when I send her an email, it's like name@yahoo.com.readnotify.com, right? So it goes to their server. It adds a little piece of code, like not marketing code, but just something to see when it's read. So then it resends it, and when they open it, then So that's how I started doing that years ago because I got sick of, oh, did you send me an email? Oh, I didn't get that. Oh, or if I would send, I would send an email, and what I would do is I would send the email, then I would forward the previous email. So it'd be email 1, hi, email 1, and then it would be, hi, this is email 2 with the other one attached. And a few days later, I would do, hi, this is email 3, and with the other 2 attached. And then what would happen is she would ignore those until she got mad and said, stop sending me all these, quit sending me emails. I got your email. You don't need to keep sending it, Again, it's all about control and manipulation. And back then I was falling into it. I wasn't doing the hybrid no contact, and I was, I was feeding her supply. Okay. Let's see here. Dansky says, scary to see this cookie cutter narc. I'm assuming you're talking about what I was talking about, or you're talking about what was happening with the blocked phone. Savvy Dunn says, really good example of how you went through it and how you respond. This is exactly how I helped my hubs reply to his ex. With your videos, he saw a few today, and he says you have great tips. His ex does the same. Yeah, it's really so thank you for that. I'm glad you were. I'm sure the last thing he wanted to do was watch some dude talk about this on YouTube. Glad he did, and I'm glad it's helpful. Hopefully, it'll continue to be helpful, and it'll start to change his mindset to help him interact with this better, because it really improves everything. And honestly, Savvy, the sooner you both are on the same page, the better, right? I've personally, there's been times where Debbie and I are a little off sync, where she's a little more frustrated and she wants to, hold my ex accountable more, because technically right now, a lot of the stuff isn't necessarily focused at me. It's really focused at her. So for the first couple of years, all the narcissistic crap that was going on was directed at me, and it bothered her. It bothered Debbie because, it was impacting me. But like I've said, these people, they continually adapt. So I'm not responding. So she's gone through another avenue and has started doing stuff to do wedges with Debbie, and it irritates her. But if you guys can get on the same page, so you're thinking along the same lines, you both know how you should respond, That way, if you get mad about something, he can reel you back in. And if he gets mad about something, you can do the same for him. It'll really help. So thanks on that. Oh, darn, it just scrolled. Okay. I do not understand. I mean, unless it's just whenever you guys hit it, make a comment, and it just, boom, it bops up. So, okay. So Leche Por Favor says, agreeing to your demands. Oh my gosh, this is how my ex responds to me for no reason. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, and just when it makes you mad, Leche, don't, you just, I mean, if you have that initial response, okay, that's fine. But then just take a deep breath, recognize it for what it is, and don't respond. And then the thing is that if you're not responding to them trying to push your buttons, that gets under their skin, which can cause them to do other things to make things a little more complicated. But bottom line is you're not getting into that fight. You're not getting into the mud. Dub the Director, welcome to the live stream. I don't think I've ever seen you before in a comment or on a live stream, and welcome to the channel. So and thanks for jumping in. I know a lot of people loiter around, or what's the word? Loiter. I can't remember what the word is. Whenever you don't really engage, but you watch. So thanks for popping in. I appreciate that. So Savvy Dunn says, I'm trying to whip him. I'm trying to help. Help. Sorry. I'm assuming that's what you mean. I'm sharing that WLP is help. Help him to decipher on his own when to respond and when to ignore, which is usually the go-to now. He is tempted to correct her and to go back and forth, but he helped save the drama. Yeah, but you helped save the drama. Oh yeah, and I get it, right? I mean, I was talking about that in that other email with let's see, is it with that one, right? I mean, and guys, this one's not that bad, but even with it, it's like demands. I'm not demanding anything, and you have that initial pull to want to say, no, wait a minute, I'm not demanding anything. I'm trying to, you know what I mean, and it doesn't serve any purpose. It doesn't. I mean, what I in the past, I absolutely this email from her would have resulted in probably and you guys know, you've seen me in the comments, I can write. It would have resulted in probably a 7-paragraph response, itemizing her points and validating my points and referencing the court order and just it. I get that you have to go through that sometimes, okay? And let me figure out what key code I need. I think it's this one. Okay. I get that you feel like you have to respond. And I did in the past, right? I did. Hopefully, and like you were saying, Savvy, is that, let me get back over here, that you guys he'll start seeing that it doesn't accomplish anything. He's not gonna change her mind about anything. So it's wasted breath. And you're not now I went through this phase too. You get to the point where you're like, well, I gotta respond because I can't let them get away with it, or I can't let them, off the hook. You're not letting them off the hook. You're letting you off the hook. You're giving yourself a break so that you don't, you get that stress and that anxiety out of your mind and out of your life. So I hope he sees that. I hope that he can start seeing it. You're going to need to help him with it because I know how I went through it and how frustrating it was. And I didn't have anybody. I didn't have a coach or somebody at that time who was saying, hey, think about it this way, right? Okay, so you say, yeah, don't worry about the typos. For the most, as long as I can decipher, I can decipher. I'm sorry about that. I was trying to read that at the time, so that makes it a little bit slower, but don't worry about it. Okay, Leche por favor. Talking Parents is $5 a month. Seriously? Man, that is great because our Family Wizard was $100 a month. Okay, well then that's even, you absolutely have that ordered. Let me see. What happened is with it being optional on my side, what my ex had said is, I don't have the money. I can't afford it. And then at the time, I was so angry about how much money she was getting from me that there was no way in hell I was going to pay for anything for her extra above and beyond what she was already getting. So Stubbornness on my part that I should have had it written in that it had to be done, and I probably should have paid for it. She still wouldn't have used it, right? I think, you know what, to be honest, because I know at one point I paid for it. No, I don't think I paid for her. I think I paid for it and started sending messages through it. You know what, I might have. I might have actually paid for her, and she refused to log into it. And since it wasn't court ordered, there's nothing I could do about it. So $5 a month, that's actually a really good deal. So, and I would pay so you have the records, because then you at least have some. If you don't have the records, then if they realize it, then there's no, I mean, having some type of accountability arm or some type of basically threat is helpful. Okay. So MCI says, Dwayne, I am glad to see that I am on the right track as to how I am handling emails like that. I always read, react, and walk away till later. Until it's life and limb, everything can wait. Absolutely, MCI. It's it, right? And I do that on everything. To be honest, there was a comment that I started to respond to the other day to one of the videos that kind of frustrated me. And I wrote the email, and I'm like, that's not good. And I rewrote it. I mean, you should do that anytime you have something that you're frustrated with. Well, you absolutely should, maybe do a first draft and walk away and look at it again. But you're right. Everything can wait. Look at it, and that's the first thing. Look at it, and it's like, is there anything life-threatening, critical that needs to be responded to now? Most of the time, the answer is no. Mommy and Mo says, I would like to talk more about that and what to do when they ignore you. Okay, Mommy and Mo, I'm not, okay, I want to talk about one. Give me a little bit more what you're talking about when they ignore you, as in like if you're saying something. Give me a little bit more information and I'll comment on that, because that can go a bunch of different ways. So B Swines, welcome. Haven't seen you on the live stream in a while, so welcome. Glad you can make it. Hey, we still have an hour, so that's cool. Okay, so Mommy Mo, good idea to wait and not respond right then. Absolutely. MCI says, replays like, okay, fine, that's nice, are my favorite to send. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times I won't even do the full okay, AY. I'll just do okay. But I still do the hi, name, okay, whatever. It's kind of like my way of just like, just to try to, I don't know. Let's see here. So Mommy Mo says, it's so hard to not respond even though it is pointless. They are so self-righteous and it gets old. Oh, it is. Yeah, it's absolutely hard. But when you realize that you're giving yourself the break, that's when it starts to become a little bit easier. Hey, Kevin Hart, welcome. Glad you can make it. Yes, it does get old. That's what he says, and absolutely it does. So what I'm going to do right now is I said I was going to talk about Joan had made a comment. So let me do it this way. Okay, so Joan earlier at the beginning of this thing, during the beginning, said, Dwayne, my ex-narc is playing the good father and is suddenly supporting and paying for the kids. This has me worried. He suddenly wants to be involved in their lives again. Okay, so this could be a couple of different things. More than likely, I don't know the time frame of what you're talking about. It could be, and it probably is, if he's a bona fide narcissist. He has not been able to get any response from you with anything he's tried. So he has probably been hoovering. He's probably been doing all the different things, and you've probably been doing a good job of not allowing him in and not allowing him to bridge or break your boundaries. So this action, now we could all hope that it's legit and he legitimately wants to be involved. You know what? Hold on a second. Well, I guess I'm okay. I'm a little off center on this, but it's probably that he's getting involved to force you to try to communicate with him. Now, hopefully that's just what it is, right? And then you can still follow this hybrid no contact and, minimize that contact. So there's a bunch of different nuances on this that can really change what they're really trying to do, right? It's going to depend on what your previous. Let me put it to you this way. You know the person. You've been dealing with the person up until this point. Your gut instinct on what he's trying to do, as long as you're not completely paranoid. But I mean, if you can kind of take a step back and get over the fear aspect of it and just say, okay, in total, and looking at this entire situation, whatever your initial response on what he's trying to do is probably pretty accurate. My guess is that he hasn't been getting anything from you. And the only way that he can get to you now is through the kids. Now, if he is good with the kids, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but keep your guard up and just watch what he's doing and what's happening. Sorry it took me so long to get to that. I mean, you posted that like 40 minutes ago. Hopefully you're still here. If you want to add some more to that so we can discuss it more, please do that. And that button didn't work. And what am I doing wrong? Because I was hitting the button to put me on the screen I was already on. Like a knucklehead. Okay, so where are we at? Mommy Mo says, funny they don't have to answer us, but we are expected to jump whenever they send anything. Oh, absolutely. And the funny part was you know what? I wonder if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Because it was two different threads. That's why I couldn't find the other emails. Was it here? Nope. That's a payment. Make sure I'm not putting this on the screen. That would be unfortunate. Mother's Day. Trip. June. Maybe it's this one. Okay. I can't find it. So sorry about that. I should have pulled that up. I don't even remember what I was initially trying to get. So sorry about that. Let's see where we at. So, hey, while we're at this little pause, for the 29 people that are watching this, if you like this channel, and the live streams, if you could give it a thumbs up so that YouTube knows that people actually like this thing, I'd appreciate it. So if you guys could just mash that thumbs up button, that would be great. If you're new, subscribe. And let me get back over to where we were. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Where'd it go? Darn the luck. It moved. Oh boy. Okay. Come on. Where is it at? Mental note. Darn the luck. Where was I at? All right. Sorry about this, guys. See that? If you guys notice this, it just bounces sometimes. It's been a while. Come on. Where's it at? Okay. All right. MD Dare is on. Welcome. Glad you could make it. Okay, Leche por favor says, removing words in your message, that has helped me a ton. Before I would have said things like I appreciate whatever. Thank you so much. Now I just respond with minimal words. Hey, that's an excellent point, and one I forgot to mention. The other thing I do is after I write something, I typically go through and I try to scale it down. I write it, and if I'm like, okay, I think this is okay, then I reread it and I look for every word I can get. I hate that's, it is that thing. It is whatever. Anyways, I look, if there's any way I can remove words, I do it. If there's any way I can consolidate what I'm saying, I take it out. I keep it as minimal as possible. And try to read it to where any way somebody could try to be offended or take it snarky, because they absolutely will, and then they'll just cause an argument and discussion. So that is excellent advice, Leche. Bless her health just says hello to MD Dare. Okay, and he says, I recently got 50-50 custody. Unfortunately, I have to go to mediation too. You got 50-50 custody and now you have to go to mediation? I'm not entirely sure what that's about. So unless she's trying to, or sorry, I get sometimes I get confused on who's the mom and who's the dad. So unless the other party is wanting to change something. Oh yeah, bless your heart said that's awesome. Yeah, that's great. 50-50 is tough, guys. I mean, you know it, but the one nice thing about it is it gives you a fair shake to try to influence and be a good parent for your kids. Okay, so Kevin Hart says, funny, I was accused of being self-centered and controlling as well. I'm very laid back too. Yeah, actually, it's bizarre, right? I mean, it's all projection. I know I mentioned this before, but when I did the small claims court thing, as she was being condescending and disrespectful to me, she was saying that I was condescending and disrespectful to her. At one point, this is just kind of funny. At one point in the midst of the mediation for the lawsuit or for the medical billing, I had said, I've been sending you emails, you don't respond. And then she's like, well, you're condescending and I won't respond to your emails. And then she made some other comment and I'm like, well, then she's like, I'm not going to respond to you because, you're condescending and yada, yada. And I'm like, then you've already won. If I'm sending you all this stuff, then you have all the evidence to demonstrate that I am a condescending piece of crap. And then you've won. Congratulations. Now, can we talk about what we're dealing with? Okay. So I admit, and I think I said it along those lines, that's absolutely condescending and sarcastic in my part. But at the same time, I'm like, seriously, but. So Bless Her Hell says, they love to project. My ex is telling everyone how crazy I am when he is the insane one. Unfortunately, people are believing him. The part of that is and this goes back into that chaos mode, right? When you have somebody who is, basically going crazy, if they can get you to respond, it's bizarre, right? So they're like, oh my God, she's crazy. She's, insane. She's done this and done that, right? And if you are doing anything to validate that, people don't generally at the beginning stop and look and go, wow, this guy is freaking out because this person's crazy. What happens is like, okay, this guy is freaking out because his ex is nuts, right? So both of them are doing this. So they give this person a pass because they think, oh, okay, well, it must be you, right? Here's the deal. If this is you and he's going, oh, she's crazy, oh, she's crazy, oh, she's crazy, and you're calm, then the only person making a scene and the only person being unreasonable, the only person freaking out is him. And that is going to make it it's going to expose the truth a lot sooner, a lot faster, not soon. Well, sooner, faster, I guess it's all the same thing. All right. Lurk. That's the word I was looking for. Thanks, Scout B. Thanks for lurking, being on the thing, and then telling me what the word was because I couldn't remember. Thank you very much. That is hilarious. Thank you. That gave me a laugh. All right. That's funny. Okay, Savvy says, yes, I was talking about it to him for a while, and he's finally looked at it today and said, wow, his ex is like yours, so it's new to him, but he's definitely interested and likes you. You're a guy, and it's more relatable. Yeah, and I get it. I mean, to be honest, I've talked before about how I got to the point where there's a lot of things I wouldn't do, right? Like therapy, I didn't like. There's things I tried to help myself. So I get it. And if someone had said, oh, just go to YouTube and search on this and watch these crazy people who, for whatever reason, are, talking about this stuff online all day long, I would have been, seriously, right? So I get it, right? I'm glad he looked, right? Because honestly, and as you know, and as hopefully he will also realize, although this stuff is weird, and sometimes I wonder why, I admit that there are times when I think, what am I doing, right? Then I get really great comments from you guys like this saying that I'm helping, and it helps. But anyways, sorry about that. So Kevin says, yes, Savvy, your hubby will get a lot out of my videos, Dwayne's videos. So thanks, Kevin. I appreciate that. And Kevin, I would imagine you can relate to that too, right? I mean, before you got to this point, you probably were going around in circles, beating your head against the wall, and then finally you found something and it resonated with, and that's what happened with me. You found something that resonated. It was like, oh my God, this person is talking about my life, or I'm reading, whatever. I mean, it's life-changing. Sometimes it's hard to get to the point where you actually look, though. MD Dare says, my ex says that I am stubborn, hard-headed, mentally ill. They all act the same. Let's see, stubborn hearted. Yeah, pretty much. She never actually called me mentally ill. She said I was, there was at one point that she sent me an email and she called me a name. And it was like male chauvinist pig, or it might have been a narcissist or whatever. I don't remember what it was. I remember when I saw the word, I had to look it up and I didn't know what it meant. I'm like, what? But I wish I could find that because I'd like to know what she was accusing me of. But yeah, it's all BS. Okay, Savvy Dunn says, yes, thanks, Kev. So Kevin Hart says, I would have sent an itemized response in the past as well. Exactly. And that's like, it's your go-to reaction. You helped me to see past the accusations and read the projection and gaslighting. Well, I'm glad, Kevin. Thanks for that. And it's tough, and I think sometimes I think if you're early into this and you're watching this video, it might be too soon. You might still have to respond. You might still have to go that way until you, unfortunately, a lot of times, and I hope you guys, anybody's at the early stage of this, I really hope that this discussion can help you see that and get to that point sooner. But I also realize that phase where you just can't let it go, that you can't let them get away with it, that it feels like that's the only way you have power is to fight them on everything. And then at some point you're going to realize that, all you're doing is beating your own head against the wall and you're giving them, the hammer to hit you with. So Mommy and Mo says it's hard not to respond even though it's pointless. They are so self-righteous and it gets old. I think I just read that. And I did. So obviously I fell behind and now I'm catching up. So sorry about that, guys. Okay. So Bless Her Health said about how she wants to know. Okay, I'll grab this one and paste it in here. I wonder if I can make this a little bit bigger. Let's see if we went to 24. All right, let's see how this looks. Okay, so Bless Her Health says, whoa, that's big on the screen. Dwayne, I have a question for you. My sister-in-law is completely on my side and is outraged about how my ex-husband abused me and the kids. She wants to know if she should warn the next girl he brings around. Man. That's a tough one because it's, she's in a position to do it. If the relationship got serious, you know what? I don't know. That's a tough one because all it's going to do. Okay. So here's the deal. Look at it from this way. Let's say, minus what we know, let's say you're with somebody. Okay. Let me back up. Erase everything you know about narcissistic abuse. So pretend that you don't know about what you've been through, right? You just know you're with this person. It seems amazing. The guy or the girl, knows everything about you. You guys feel like you're perfect together. You guys like the same things. They're attentive to your needs. All the love bombing, all the mirroring, all that stuff, but you don't know it. And then, and the person is going to say, yeah, I have this crazy ex-wife. She's trying to steal everything from me. She's trying to turn the kids against, all that stuff, right? So that new girlfriend or that new person is going to tend to believe that person. If your sister-in-law says something, more than likely that girlfriend is going to say something to your ex. And granted, it doesn't necessarily do anything for you. It doesn't necessarily put you into the crossfire. It is going to put your sister-in-law in the crossfire. And more than likely what's going to happen is he's going to say, yeah, see, my crazy ex-wife is trying to turn even my own family against me. I can't believe my sister has done that. That's great that your sister-in-law is backing your play. Honestly, what I would say is stay out of that. And if she would back you in court, that's more important. Who cares about the next girl? It's irrelevant to you. If she feels that she needs to do it, that's her call. I wouldn't get involved in it. But if your sister-in-law will help you with a character reference, and to deal with whatever in court, that will help you. So I hope that's helpful. Dang it, I keep hitting the wrong button. There we go. Okay. And so MD Dare says, I just made a mental note of the accusations or outbursts and then let it go. No point in getting worked up about it. Yep, absolutely. Helena says, true, Mommy and Mo. Bless Her Hell says, print them out, MD Dare, and keep them in a folder in case you need them in court. Excellent, because then you do have those references to show how condescending or just annoying they are. Now, you just got to make sure that you haven't done the same thing, right? Which some of us have, because if both of you are looking like knuckleheads in those emails, then it negates it, right? Now, if you have everything where you're doing that hybrid no contact and you are responding and you are communicating, if you're in court, what I was talking about before about trying to look to where you respond or not respond, and I said in the last email that I probably wouldn't respond. If I was in the middle of a court thing or I was getting ready to go to court, I absolutely would respond, and I would say okay, and just leave it at that, just so I would have that mark to show that I was doing that. So that's the only caveat I should put on the hybrid no contact, is that if you're actively in litigation, respond even whenever it's when you're just going to respond, okay, be hi, name, comma, okay, Billy, right? Okay, alrighty. Let's see here. Mommy Mo says she won't believe her. She will just look jealous. Think how you would have seen it. Yeah, it's just what I said. So she's saying, it's really, the sister-in-law should just probably stay out of it. And in that conversation, you probably should stay out of it. You could say, hey, do whatever you want to, but it's not really my issue. Mommy Mo says it's humiliating to be ignored like we don't mean anything, even though I know why. Oh, that is an excellent point, Mommy and Mo. And I will tell you, because see, this is it's not funny, but this is the experience I had early on. Like I said before, she wouldn't respond. I would send an email and it would be ignored. I forgot about that, but what you're talking about, it's like you're a non-person. It's like you don't exist. And it's tough, right? So that way, whenever they do send something, sorry about that. Hopefully you guys didn't hear that. You want to respond because it's, oh crud. I got to plug in something. My battery's dying on one of my little devices over here. Sorry about this, guys. You guys should see the crazy setup I have. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, so it's frustrating. I remember that, Mommy and Mo, and it was annoying. Okay, see, it's funny, the way you said that brought back the feeling. When I was talking about it earlier, I was talking about it like sterile, right, medically, right? But yeah, it bothered me, and that's the reason why I started using that readnotify.com, because it took that away, right? So then I knew when she opened the damn email. Darn email, sorry. So I wonder, let's see here. I wonder if I can, let me try something. Let's see if I can pull this up. Okay, this is a really bad looking website, but let me see how it looks here. Okay, so all right, so this is the website. You can't really see the thing. It's just readnotify.com, and this doesn't really tell you much, but this is what I use. That I send an email. It sends it through their service. It puts a little bit of code. It sends it to her. When she opens it, if there's images, if she looks at the, if she has it display the images, it will track back that she's read it. So I know when she's, not all the time. Some things that probably when she's on her phone, she doesn't download images automatically, but when she's at home, I think it'll give you a read receipt, and if they forward it to someone else, it'll tell you if it opens up from someplace else. So it's I started using that because exactly what you were talking about, being treated like a non-human, and this, I'm having email problems. Were you sending me emails? Oh, I've been having all these email problems. Send it to me again. I'll look for it. I'm like, seriously, right? Always an excuse. Now I must admit that I've used that same excuse now. If I have something and I don't want to do it, I'm just like, oh, were you sending me? Oh, I must be having email problems, right? I don't, for the most part, I don't, because I don't respond to her anymore. But there was a period of time where I use that same thing. Don't recommend it, but you're better off just not responding and not engaging in any of the shenanigans. Okay, so I think Nessa says what her name is down here. Oh, Vanessa. So Vanessa says, cool, didn't know you did live streams. By the way, hi all, my name is Vanessa. Well, welcome to the live stream. Glad you could make it, and welcome to the channel. I don't think I've seen a comment from you before, so glad you could jump in. Yeah, we do every Tuesday. So for anyone who doesn't know, every Tuesday I do a 2-hour, for the most part, live stream. And come on, guys, there's 32 people watching and only 16 thumbs up. Come on, give me a couple more thumbs ups. Anyway, so glad you could make it to the live stream, and thank you for participating in the community in the chat. I appreciate that. All right, so Morgan Chase, welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the channel as well. Hey, Dwayne, I had to watch replays last week. Awesome and so helpful. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. I have had to do a lot of ignoring and grokking my ex, but now he is caught on that I'm ignoring him. Yeah, and see what's going to happen is then they're going to change their tactics. See, what you're talking about, Morgan, is that's what's happened with me, right? I mean, when I first started doing my ignoring, which is more hybrid, no contact and no contact, it went on for a little while, but as soon as she realized, hey, he's not coming after me anymore, then it was like, deek, Then I got the email. I remember I got an email from her. This was before I really implemented this whole thing and the hybrid no contact. And I had made a comment about, hey, let's try to, we need to communicate for the good of the kids, yada, 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 that type of stuff. Well, then I got sick of it and I stopped responding. What happened is after I don't know if it was a few weeks or a few months, it might've been a couple of months, I get an email that says exactly what I said before, And it was funny because it was really condescending. It was like, hey, we really need it for the good of the children, need to do what need to talk. And I made a comment like, seriously, okay, what are you going to do to demonstrate that you're in good faith, that you've changed? And her comment back was, well, I can see that you're just not ready. You're just not ready to talk. But when you are, I'm here. I'm ready whenever you are. Whenever you feel like you can do it, just know you can reach out to me. Oh, which infuriated the crap out of me. Now this is before I knew I had come up with the hybrid no contact. And so what I did is I said, okay, I'm like, all right, fine. I said, okay, let's talk. You know what? You're right. Let's talk. And she started, like, oh, I'm making dinner. I mean, she's literally sending me this email about, oh, I'm doing homework and making dinner. And I'm like, seriously? And then something came up where I was trying to like, hey, can we talk about doing an accommodation? Answer was no, nothing, just no. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to use her name, but I mean, I went, well, name, I thought we turned over a new leaf and we were going to try differently. I mean, this sounds like you're just saying no for no reason. I mean, I was absolutely not what I would recommend doing now. But yeah, I turned around and basically I said the same thing back to her. I'm like, well, whenever you're ready. I can see by your response that you're not ready. Whenever you're ready, But it was just stupid. I shouldn't have done it. But I get how you get into that mode. So I'm sorry about that. Anyways, bottom line is it doesn't matter. If he knows that your ex found out, now he is caught on that I'm ignoring him, it doesn't matter. Just continue what you're doing. Now he is going to ramp it up. And he'll try to throw other stuff, and you're being, he'll throw other accusations, and he may even, if you have children, Morgan, I'm not entirely sure if you do, he'll probably add in there that, I'm just trying to talk to you about the children, he might even threaten you with court. Just follow that process. Only answer what you have to, share the information that you need to, and it doesn't matter. If he catches on, it doesn't matter. He is going to modify his approach. That's a guarantee, but that doesn't mean that the methodology, the hybrid no contact methodology, still doesn't work. Okay. DJ Shadow, welcome to the live stream. I think I've seen you on before, but I haven't seen you in a while. My monster refuses to use talking parents. She is upset. Yeah, unless it's ordered, they're probably not going to. They can reach me via email. So if you made the mistake like I did, then you are going to have to just deal with the email stuff. And whenever they ignore you, just not let it get to you, and it's tough. Okay, MD Dare says, oh my God bless. Once my case is settled, I'm going to anonymize and share all the stuff I have. I think it will be fascinating. Yeah, and helpful to other people too. So DJ says they can, okay, I already read that one. Morgan says, I think my ignoring is now turning into feed. Any suggestions? Okay, so maybe it's feeding him because he thinks that he's getting to you because you're ignoring him. And potentially, if you're frustrated about it, then that could be true, but how is he going to know if you're not responding? It doesn't matter. Whatever these people think, it doesn't matter. It's more about how you're interacting in the situation. So if you're feeding him, well, here's the thing. If you're feeding him by you ignoring him, and that's keeping him in a semi-calm, fueled state, then who cares? It doesn't matter. Okay? If it's feeding him because he's trying all the different things to try to push your buttons to get you to respond, don't respond. I mean, even this, see, because you're already starting to wonder, thinking, okay, well, I have to change my tactic because, maybe I'm getting him what he wants because he knows I'm getting to him. It doesn't matter. That's the problem is you have to get, not the problem, but that's the key, is you have to get to the point that you realize that whatever they're saying about you, whatever they're thinking, however they're playing it, whatever they're telling other people, it doesn't matter. Because if you get caught up in thinking about any of those 4 things I just talked about, and there's a laundry list more above that, you get sucked back in. And that's and that rolls into, right now we're talking about hybrid no contact. And I'm not sure, Morgan, if you've seen some of my other videos about absolute thinking, sorry, I had to think of the word, absolute thinking and black hole thinking. That's why those are critical, right? The first part of that, the absolute thinking, is he is absolutely, even if he isn't, or maybe he's just, maybe he's not full blown, has a personality disorder or a mental disorder, maybe it's just really narcissistic traits. Bottom line, it's toxic to you, it's not healthy to you, it's not good for you to be around. So, absolute thinking, he's a narc. He is a cluster B, narcissistic personality disordered individual, maybe with comorbid, with borderline or whatever. It doesn't matter. He is that. He is absolutely that. You put that in your mind that is exactly what he is. Doesn't matter whatever, then that answers everything, right? If he's saying all this other stuff that you're talking about, it makes sense because it's part of what a narc does. First part of it, right? So that way when you start questioning yourself, you go, nope. I know what I'm dealing with. He's a narcissist, and I need to use this tool set, gray rock, hybrid no contact if you don't have kids, and the absolute thinking and the black hole thinking. Now, the black hole thinking, actually, I guess technically, the hybrid no contact is something I came up with. The absolute thinking is something I came up with, and the black hole thinking is something I'm sure people have come up with other terms, but those are the terms that I coined to describe it that work for me. If they work for you, that's great. If there's other terms that work, that's great too. But just you stick with those and you keep your boundaries up. So my suggestion is you continue doing what you're doing, and you keep distancing yourself and keep establishing those boundaries so that he's not able to get through. And if you start questioning yourself like you're doing right now, just remind yourself that it's all mind games, that it's all manipulation, that these people can morph tactics, transform into new people, into new personalities, basically, to get what they want. And that's all that is all that is. And you don't respond. So I hope that helped, Morgan. Mommy and Mo, when you try to contact them about anything and they go no contact with you. Yeah, they're just doing it. See, okay, so there's oh crud, I'm going to miss the term. So our term is no contact. Their term is, oh crud, I forgot the term. And the silent treatment, sorry, I had to think about that. They're doing the silent treatment. We're doing, okay, here's the funny thing. We do no contact and hybrid no contact to protect ourselves. They do the silent treatment to get back at you, to punish you, right? I mean, I guess technically if you're doing hybrid no contact to punish the other person, then your process could be wrong. That's like gift with purchase, right? So you're doing the hybrid no contact or the no contact to help yourself. And if it's hurting them, then that's not really the reason you're doing it. You're doing it to protect yourself. They're doing it to get under your skin and push your buttons. DJ Shadow says, I blocked her from my cell phone. I can understand that. The only thing I would say when you have kids, you could put yourself in a little bit of a situation. Because honestly, this last go around with my ex, I almost did that to her whenever she was texting me and threatening to call me and do whatever. And it was just like, I considered it, but it's just, depending on your situation, sometimes it's not a good move. Sometimes it is. So let's see here. Bless Her Health says you should, MDR, expose their ugliness. Yes, I agree. And MD Dare, if you don't want to do a channel yourself, whenever you're ready, if you want to do it through this channel, and I could talk about some of the stuff, or have a conversation with you, we could do that as well. Now I'm trying to figure out where I scrolled back to. Dang it went way back. Man, sorry about this, guys. See, I don't understand. There's a big bunch of conversations going on, and then all of a sudden it'll just jump. Oh, and I went too far again. Okay, Bless Her Health says, I have a 2-year no contact protective order, so thankfully I don't communicate with him. Going through lawyers and 3 parties is annoying, but much better than direct. Oh yeah, because then it minimizes their ability to try to gaslight you, to basically, emotionally abuse you, right? So that's good that you got that. That's hard to get. Typically, you don't get that unless they've done something to justify it. So Mommy and Mo says, MD Dear, yeah, it's so crazy what feeds their supply. It is hard to know what to do. I always say that I can't predict crazy. Well, you know what? But yeah, you can though, right? I mean, you can. It's funny because every time they do, so I would imagine every one of you guys out there, every time they've done something, as soon as you realize that you know what you're dealing with, it makes sense. Whenever they do something, you go, man, I can't. Oh yeah, no, that makes sense. I could see them doing that now. That's been my experience anyways. Bless Her Health says, absolutely anything to draw you back in. Absolutely. That's what it's all about. Vanessa says, trust your gut. With these people always. Don't doubt yourself. Trust your feelings and instincts. Yeah, absolutely. These and do. Do not doubt yourself and trust your gut. Yep. Absolutely. I agree with you, Vanessa. Leche, por favor. There have been a ton of accusations since all of this started. I created folders, credit card fraud, insurance fraud, etc., with all the documentation and set it aside for court just in case. Yeah, absolutely. Keep it in there. The sad part is that it seems like all this criminal stuff, when it's in family court, they just ignore it, right? Everything, what I've known for people who've had those type of situations and information, it seems like when it comes up, I mean, it can help your case, but unless you somehow get a criminal, detective and the DA to do something, it's annoying. And it says, for peace of mind, I don't have to share it with him, but made me feel better. Oh yeah, and actually, if it starts getting crazy, then you can use it, right? I mean, you can basically threaten back when they start doing whatever. You can turn around and say, you know what? Knock this off. I have all this documentation. If you don't stop, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And there's a potential that they will back off. Bless Her Health says, smart leche, por favor. Peace of mind. That's funny. I get, like I said before, sometimes they get the moms and dads confused. So MD Dare says, document. Absolutely. Vanessa says, already subbed and did like the stream. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, hey, we got 25 likes. Thanks, guys. I really do appreciate it. So, let's see. Anti-narcissist. Well, welcome to the channel and welcome to the live stream. I've been stalked by a I always have a hard time saying that word. What do you do? Okay, you're being stalked. Yeah, then Bless Your Health says protective order. Yeah, I think that, I mean, if it's serious and they're I mean, if it's legitimate stalking, yeah, put a protective order in, because you're probably not going to get them to stop. I mean, and these people have different levels of what they do, right? And if you can prove it, you need to be able to prove it, or at least be able to have some good evidence. So hopefully, if he did it around where, you have somebody who was witness, that'll help too. But I wouldn't mess around with it, right? I mean, so I guess it depends on how bad it is. I mean, if you've told him to knock it off and he's not knocking it off, then your only real option in my mind is a protective order. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I don't give legal advice on this. If you have an attorney, check with them, or you could even go down to court and ask ask for help. Most courts have a self-service center where you can go in and talk about things, and they will help you with options, and that's generally free. MD Dare says that I'm the dad. Well, good for you. And you said you got 50-50. That's awesome. So Vanessa says, these people are masters of projection, and it is almost an art form to them. They believe their own BS. That is an excellent point. And they believe it to such a level that you can have a conversation with them. And I know I'm preaching to the choir on this, but I just feel like I have to say it. That you walk away going, am I wrong? It's crazy, right? I mean, there were many times, especially early on, where I would ask my friends, it's like, am I crazy? Am I really missing this so much that I really don't get it? It's tough, right? I mean, and going through this without the filter or the decoder ring, the decipher code or whatever to understand what you're dealing with, it will drive you insane, because these people do things that are just, it's bizarre. So, and they do believe it. Well, they may not believe it, but they absolutely project like they believe it. And they can be convincing. And they leave you, basically questioning your own, they're gaslighting you, right? They're questioning your own reality. So Mommy Mo says they sure can. They rewrite history and create their own reality too. Meanwhile, telling you that you are the one doing all the crazy stuff. Yep. So, now I will admit that I did at multiple times say that I think my ex is crazy, and she's complained because someone's told her that. Actually, I remember one point a couple of years ago when we were still talking, she said, you need to stop saying I'm crazy. I'm like, well, who did I say it to? Tell me who it was, and I'll tell you exactly. I would have. I'm like, I'll tell you exactly what I said to him and what I meant. Which, again, not a good move on my part. Was not. All it did is it just kept that supply and that back and forth going, and it didn't accomplish anything. Okay, so all right, Leche por favor. Mine started with Trenton Howley. I don't even know who that is. I was looking for videos on Army rage and how to help your military spouse. NARS kept popping up. It took me a while to stop blaming myself. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know who Trent Howley is. I'll have to look that up. Vanessa says if she does tell her of all of his abuse, he'll likely spin it to her as being an excessive ex or flat out crazy. When you're infatuated with a new person in any relationship setting, you don't want to believe it. Yeah, I talked about that earlier, so I'm obviously behind in my comments like I normally am, so I apologize for that. But that's, yeah, exactly. Vanessa says benefit of the doubt and all that. Absolutely. Mommy Mo says, thank you so much for addressing being ignored. It is exactly like I am a non-person. My self-esteem has taken a huge hit lately all around. Maybe this has been impacting me more than I realize. Oh, absolutely. You know what? Hold on. I'm going to... Oh, dang it. And A. Nope, wrong button. There we go. So, yeah, the being ignored thing is incredibly tough. And it does take a hit on your self-esteem. And to be perfectly honest, everything that you go through on this is going to be a hit on your self-esteem. The problem is, so what I mean is that if the other person gets in another relationship, it's a hit on your self-esteem. They're better than me. If conversely, if they don't get with anybody, it's like, wait a minute, what? I'm so pathetic. They didn't even want to, they just wanted to be away from me, right? I mean, now typically with a narcissist, if they're leaving you, they're not going to leave you unless they have something lined up, right? They're not going to typically say, you suck. I don't want to be around you. I just want to be away, right? But it all hurts. It all hurts, and you have to be careful of it, because a lot of this stuff will creep back in, mommy and Mo, and it probably is impacting you more than you realize, and you just have to be mindful of it, watch out for it, and recognize it. Don't beat yourself up that you're feeling that way, because you can also go through that. It's like, wow, this guy's this other person is such a piece of garbage and abusive, and I'm feeling, I'm still attached to him. Well, of course you are. It's all trauma bonding and stuff like that. And the reason I say that is because I went through the same thing. I knew that, I left. She didn't leave me. I left because I couldn't deal with it anymore. Technically I was discarded, emotionally years before that. But I went through all of that self-doubt and that pain and that, wanting it not to be real, but knowing that whole transition, whenever you know what you're dealing with, and, hold on. And when you know what you're dealing with, but you're still kind of attached, that struggle is incredibly frustrating. And it takes a long time. And if anybody out there is stuck in that mode, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't last forever. It's not fun. But as you continue working on it, and you do things like, you start doing the gray rock and the hybrid no contact and the the black hole thinking and the absolute thinking, you start to reprogram your mind. And when those thoughts come up into your head, you're able to push them down, and they don't. Not that you push them down. That's not, because that's like saying you're denying them. You're not denying them, but when it pops into your head, your inner voice is going, no, that's not true. Now, in a calm way, your inner voice is saying, well, now remember, like in my situation, now remember, Dwayne, remember all these situations where, the actions and the words didn't match. Remember how, you were emotionally manipulated. Remember this, remember that, remember how you, all that stuff. And then as you're going through that, then your mind, so when these things pop up, you're like, when you start to feel it coming in on you, your brain is able to basically fight back and go, no, that's not true, and calm yourself down. So I don't know if I got off topic on that or not. So, all right, let's see here. So Savvy Dunn says, currently I'm waiting for litigation. So found a way to respond with one thing she doesn't want to, and it instantly makes her stop responding, which looks bad on her instead. Hey, that's great, right? Because you're pushing their buttons and they're demonstrating, so they're validating your narrative. Okay, Mommy and Mo says, which subscription to Read Notify did you buy? Ooh, I didn't know they had multiple ones. I think I did the one. I pay like $5 a month. I've been doing it for like years. So I'm trying to look at the website. Let's see here. And it's running really slow, or I'm running. I didn't even look to see if my stream's running good. Has everything been going okay on this stream today, guys? Let's see here. I don't have... it looks green, so hopefully it is. Okay, so let me get back over here. Holy cow. So okay. Let me see if this will pop up. And let me go back over here, and I'll go here. Oh my God. I don't know if you guys can see this. So I'm doing the monthly select subscription, except I think I pay more than that. So I'm paying, so I must be doing no, because I'm not doing it 1 year. So he may have changed the year basic subscription. Wow, I might need to redo it. I'm only paying $5 a month. Let's see here. And I'm only using one email. Actually, I think I can use two. So I have my two main emails, and it gets read for. So I would do 1 month, 1 year. I must be doing this 1 month one. I don't send a lot of emails, so it's like the 350 is no big deal. I'm not sending it to other people, but I haven't subscribed in a long time. I've been a subscriber for a long time, but it was a long time ago that I did it. And he hasn't changed it much. I don't know how many clients he has, but I've been probably doing it for 2 years. So let me get back over here. I don't know if you guys could even read that. So I don't know if that was valuable or not, but, all right. Was correcting that and press send. I hate it when that happens. I think I understood what you were saying. So if I missed it, let me know. So Mommy Mo says, good if she looks bad. Yep, absolutely. Morgan, to clarify, I'm not ignoring anything important, only when he's being a knucklehead or trying to gaslight, push my buttons. Yeah, exactly. That's what you do. You read it, you ignore, or you filter out all that stuff, and you only respond to what you need to. I don't know if you saw the beginning part of this, Morgan, where I went through an actual email and a discussion on that. If you did, hopefully that was helpful. If not, maybe you can watch it as on the replay. Savvy Dunn says she wants to talk about money but never custody. So once he mentioned custody, she doesn't respond like clockwork. Yeah, you know what? Actually, mine used to do the same thing. Or what it would be in the real beginning when we were still taught. I mean, this was like early, like the first month or two in the beginning. They every time I would get into discussion with her, if it got to where she didn't want to, she's like, well, I have to make breakfast, I have to make lunch, I have to make dinner. There was always a reason, and she would just end the conversation. It's a control thing too. Okay, Savvy Dunn says I already read that one. Chris Youngblood, welcome to the live stream. Glad you can make it. Guess web addresses aren't allowed. Yeah, you guys can't do, you can't post web addresses in the chat. It blocks it. If you did it, www space, talking heads space com or something, I think that will go through. But if you put the actual website, it blocks it because it doesn't want anybody to spam the live stream, which I do appreciate. But it also makes it annoying because sometimes it would be nice for you guys to be able to post things. Not that I want you, don't leave the stream until it's over. But if you see, I'm trying to think of how you could send it to me. So you were trying to post Google the top 100 traits of the disordered. Yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, that's a really good idea, right, Chris? That's a good idea because I know I talk about a certain few, but if you look at those and you can start seeing those traits in your ex, it helps you validate what you're dealing with. And in the beginning stage of this, I think we all go through that self-doubt where we just aren't sure what is really, what's real. And and finding ways to help validate that are good. I wish you could give me that link. What I might do, well, we're starting to run out of time. So what I may do, if I can get through these, I may see if I can pull it up. Okay. Oh, and thumbs up done per your request. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for the thumbs up. That really is helpful. We're at 24 thumbs up right now. At least there's, well, I'm not gonna say anything about any other thumbs because the 24 thumbs up is good. All right. Sorry, guys. Bless Her Health says, my ex could care less about the kids and cares about his money more than anything in the world. Yeah, we've talked about that before. I mean, if that's the case and you can use that to get him out of your life, that's not a bad idea. So, Mommy Mo, that is so true. When I realized when he realized I was, damn it, sorry. That is so true. When he realized I was doing the hybrid no contact, he tried hoovering me. I tried being nice. Dumb. Yeah, not good. Now he's actually gone no contact with me. No, he's giving you the silent treatment. He's not going no contact. No contact is a technique that victims of this use to protect themselves from a narcissistic abuser. Narcissists don't go no contact. They do the silent treatment. The silent treatment is to punish you. No contact is to protect yourself. You know, if they get angry about it or whatever, that's different, right? So Memphis, welcome to the live stream and welcome to the channel. Hello, I am new here. Are you the one holding custody and the mother has visitation rights, or is it the otherwise? It's actually, in my situation, Memphis, it's 50-50. So we have joint custody. It's joint physical, joint legal. My custody arrangement is 50-50. It's a weird timeshare, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend, but every Monday and Tuesday, they're with their mom. Every Wednesday and Thursday, they're with me. And then we have alternating weekends. So sometimes I say 2-2-5, which is wrong. It's 2-5-2, or it's 2-5-5-2. You know, so like, for instance, this coming up weekend is my weekend with the kids. So I'll get them from Wednesday. And then, well, okay, so Monday's a federal holiday in the U.S., but so I'll actually keep them till Tuesday. But if it was normal, I would keep them, take them to school on Monday, and then their mom would pick them up from school on Monday, and then I would get them back on Wednesday. Now, if you guys are doing this, having that Monday, Tuesday, I would highly recommend that, because then it's always, I'm trying to remember. Well, I think in one way I thought it was easier because there's less drop-offs, but I think it might be the same. Because during the summer, I drop the kids off at 6 p.m. on Monday at her place. She drops them at 6 p.m. on my place. And then I either keep them for the whole time or I drop them off on Monday. And if it's her, yeah, no, see, because in that situation, right, it's, she only does one drop off and I end up doing two. Do I do two? No, it's the same. Sorry, I'm getting confused. Bottom line is that if you could do week on, week off, and it's easier because you have more time, contiguous time with the kids. The problem with my visitation schedule, and I know you didn't ask this, but I'm just throwing this out there. The problem with the 2-2 or the 2-5-2, the 2-5-5, whatever, the 2 days, and then every other weekend is on those weeks you only have 2 days, you only have 2 days. And in those 2 days, you don't really accomplish everything. One day is a groundhog day. The next day, things are calmed down. The next day, if it's on school, then, you don't even have any time. In the summer, I guess you still have that whole day. But, if you're working like in my situation, I don't get, that Friday every other week to be able to be with them. Okay. Okay, so Memphis says they share. Oh, okay. But who gets to spend more time with the children? It's like I said, it's even. It's okay. So Mommy says it's even, and Chris says, what does his case details matters? Try focusing on lessons, pointing out the concepts which can assist. No, I get the question, right? Because, and the reason is because although 50-50 is incredibly painful because it forces you to have to interact with your ex more, it gives you more time with the kids. Like I know for me, Kevin, a couple other people, I think we have similar timeshares. And bottom line is that if all I had was weekends, it would be incredibly difficult for me. I could still make progress with the kids, but I don't think I would make as much progress. And I would have to let go all the school and everything else. So I do actually think, I can see your point, Chris, but I think it's, unless I read down, unless it gets condescending and I hadn't read it, but I get the question. I talk about it a lot, so, but hey, you're new to the channel and you dropped in, so fine, I'm good. You guys know me. I'll pretty much answer anything anyways. Oh, darn, it scrolled. Oh, shoot. Man. Darn. I hate it when it does this. Okay. All right. We're getting back to where we were. Oh. Oh my gosh, I was falling way behind. I got a friend to act as an interview. Okay. All right. Dang it. Man, that like scrolled a lot. I'm sorry. Okay, so Chris said, blah, 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 no, well experienced bias towards the female side. You are both right and wrong. Okay, so let me scroll back up. Hopefully this stayed civil and didn't go bad. Okay. All right. Calling custody, mother has visitation rights or otherwise. Did I go too far? So I answered that question. I said it was equal. That's going to be quite different depending on your side. Oh, absolutely. I agree with you on that. The concept of what he's suggesting is document everything, record everything, do not react or respond with emotional and negative communication text. Yeah, that's true, Chris. Thank you for that. So Memphis says the lessons can be quite different depending on your side and the situation. Chris says, Memphis, you are both right and wrong depending on your side. The sole issue is the known and well experienced bias towards the female side. That's true. But the good part about it is if we can remain calm and rational, then we can negate a lot of that. You mean against the male side? Right, against, yeah, depending on how you look at it. Chris says, at present, I don't think it is useful, nor Dwayne's interest in discussing the all too common professional bias towards the female gender side. Yeah, I you know what, guys? I mean, I know it's Dad Surviving Divorce, and I did think that this site was going to be more of a male-focused or dad-focused thing. But I've come to realize that the narcissistic abuse and the alienation and all the stuff that happens, it doesn't matter. I was talking to a lawyer in Canada earlier, and he was talking about that he primarily is a men's rights attorney, and he has represented women. So, and we were talking about the fact of how, initially I thought that it couldn't happen. But you know what? A narc will do whatever they can, manipulate whatever they can. If it's the dad, they will be just as evil as if it's the mom. So, okay, so of no use. I'm glad you like my gift with purchase comment. So Memphis says, it's my first time here. Where do you write so that he reads it? Oh, it's you're doing it right. It's just, I get behind. Like right now, your comment is from 7:20 and it's 7:58 right now. So I'm just behind. So hopefully you're still here. Sorry about that. I get slow and I start talking and then things happen. So, so Vanessa says, black hole thinking and absolute thinking. Interesting terms you've come up with. How exactly do these frame your mind in order to deal with the narc? I've never heard your videos about these terms. Vanessa, if you're still here, let me see if I can, I've done this, let me try this again. YouTube. Might help if I spell YouTube correctly. Oh, I don't want to go to the live stream. No, that's not what I want to do. I want to go to my channel. Come on, go to the channel. If you go to my channel, if I can get to my channel, and there's a lot of times I'll promote the mindset for narcissistic abuse recovery, and my computer is running slow. And let me do this. I'm going to go here. Okay. And if you go into, I don't want to play these, but if you go into it, okay, there it goes. You have, it's a collection of videos that'll help. You got the absolute thinking for recovery. You're in love with the illusion. Beware of the nice. If I remember, no, I didn't want to play it. Darn, back up. Sorry about that, guys. And I think I have, maybe I don't have absolute thinking and black hole thinking. No, I do have why black hole thinking is important, and absolute. I think, or is absolute thinking the first one? Oh, absolute thinking is the first one. So if you go to my channel, go to that playlist, you can find the video, or just do Dad Surviving Divorce and search on those terms, and I have videos for that. So hopefully that is helpful. All right. So So Vanessa, I'm glad you're new. I got like over 200 videos now. So I do try to put them into playlists. A lot of the videos when I talk about that, I'll promote in that top. Where does it go? It goes like normally here. Let me see if I can point right. Dink. If I remember correctly, it'll come up with that little eye, and you can drop down and do. It'll have links to either websites or different videos. I sometimes do that. So there's links to that. Or if you follow what I just showed you before, you can check them out. So Chris Youngblood says to Leche por favor, I just saw on my big screen your comment of insurance fraud, etc., and would like to hear more about and or some suggestions with you, or share some suggestions with you. Yeah, I don't know how you guys could do that. You might, Chris, you might be able to click on his name and send him a site message through YouTube, but it works really bad. So Chris Youngblood says, Leche por favor, as he topics and areas I'm experienced with. So RT, oh, welcome RT. So I learned a lesson again, yeah. So Chris Youngblood, in regards to Dwayne's comment about fam court, it is critical to report to police any and all suspected crimes, even though the police will very doubtfully arrest a suspect or suggest prosecution. Yeah, I think, Chris, you've talked about that before. Hey, you know what, Chris, maybe at some point, hey, send me an email. If you haven't, if you did in the past, send me another one. Maybe we can talk a little bit offline, and maybe I can share some of what your experiences is so I can get it out there, or at least point, if you have a resource where you've done stuff. But send me an email, Dwayne@dadsurvivingdivorce.com. RT I was thinking of a temp sole agreement. Yeah, you got to tell me how that went. Memphis says, I got a friend to act as an intermediary because the mother never answers any questions. Yeah, you get stuck in those situations. I think I read somewhere that you also said that you were far away. And maybe you didn't. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I got that. Maybe I thought you lived someplace else. So yeah, it really sucks when you get in that situation, right? If you have to communicate, because your only other option would be to go through a lawyer, and that's expensive. So, and unfortunately, what she's trying to do is she's trying to control you. And until you get to a stable state to where you have, like, say, in my situation, like your question about 50-50, having that stable situation is helpful because, it negates the need to have to interact with her a lot, because I'm not, it's not that I haven't seen the kids in 2 weeks, so it's not like an every other weekend thing to where it's like I haven't seen the kids for 10 days or 13, whatever, 12 days or whatever. And now you're trying to coordinate, or whatever. So Bless Rail says, I was granted the PO because he was arrested for domestic assault and choking and punching me. That was when I was 100% done and haven't looked back. That would pretty much that would do it, bless your health. I'm sorry you went through that. I mean, I don't mean to laugh, but I mean, fortunately, you had record of it and you got a PO. I mean, if he would have been doing stuff, or you didn't have, let's say you didn't report it and he wasn't arrested and it didn't happen, you would have been in a tough position, because in family court, in my opinion, in family court, when the accusations start flying, when it's going through a divorce, then it's like they don't believe anybody. So having that, so that explains it. Because initially, most of the people on this channel, when they've talked about TROs or temporary restraining orders, they typically get thrown out. So sorry you were punched and choked. That had to be a very traumatic experience. And if I remember correctly, he's an officer in the Navy. So that, I'm really surprised that didn't blow up in his face. So... Okay, RT says, I told her my only stipulations were no changing his name and no moving him. She didn't like it, and we started arguing. Excuse me. Thank God I asked the tough question prior to making any. Oh, right, yeah. See, glad you did it. I remember you were the one talking about agreeing to the permanent or primary custody just so you could do something, and I mean So I'm glad you did that. I know last week, I think we were talking about last week, I was kind of like, hey, if you've looked at everything and if you make that decision with all the information and you understand the ramifications and you're okay with it, then that's okay. If you're okay with it, it's okay. I'm glad you asked. I'm sure that didn't go well and I'm sure that wasn't fun, but I'm glad you did it. So Thanks, I forgot. Thanks for reminding me. So Bless Her Health says, should I be concerned about more violent attack, or will he do anything to try and fix his image and protect himself in divorce court? Everything I win in court, I am scared he would retaliate. Well, okay. The difference is, as a Navy person, him doing anything, he's under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, which makes, it's like rolling the clock back to like the 1950s, the way the laws were. So, I mean, you can get away with stuff in civilian court, but if he does anything, he could get court-martialed, and it could be devastating to his career. So probably, not entirely sure, probably he will do everything to replace his image and protect his career and stuff. Now, the caveat is that if because of this he loses his entire career, then you need to be very careful. And I guess the other question is was that violence a one-time thing? Not that negates it, right? Anytime someone beats you and chokes you, that's not good. But was it a, you guys had this whole long marriage and this would happen, or did it happen the entire time? If it happened the entire time, obviously that's a different pattern of behavior, and it's more problematic. So I gave you my opinion on it. Bottom line, you still need to be really careful. Bless her health. Okay, Vanessa says, Bless Your Health says, or Vanessa says to Bless Her Health, very good to hear that you took your situation serious enough to feel no appeal was warranted. Yeah, absolutely. And it's absolutely going to help you with custody. Vanessa says, healthy, I'm happy that you're safe now. Yeah, and just make sure that you do things to protect yourself. Mommy Mo says, bless your health, I'm so tired of being fearful of retaliation every time something is said. Good luck. Hope you are doing well overall. You know what, Mommy Mo, okay, so my situation wasn't violent, but you guys both hit on a point that I hadn't thought about for a while. But I did go through a phase where I was fearful of what the retaliation in court or in allegations or whatever was going to happen with my ex. And I would be like, even to the point, it's like, well, if like I mentioned before, like this renting this house, it's like, well, is this house going to make her mad, right? Is she going to get mad and retaliate for me renting this house? Is she going to retaliate, if I buy something, if the kids hear about it or whatever? Okay, obviously your guys' what you're talking about in your situation with physical violence, that's a whole nother level. But that general feeling, I think, rolls down from that level of violent retaliation and fear all the way down to retaliation of, emotional abuse, right? Okay, so Chris Youngblood says, please, to bless her health, please understand the abuser will only escalate and abuse further. The abuse from the abuser does not decrease nor decrease or decease. It only increases in severity and incidence with time. Yeah, and it's kind of what I was saying, maybe not completely the same way, but anytime someone crosses that line, that's a really serious negative indicator. The fact that you were able to get the protective order is excellent, and you need to make sure you protect yourself. Don't put yourself in a situation to interact with them. Make sure you keep those boundaries and don't let him escalate it. And if he does escalate it, make sure you have plans in place to take care of yourself. Okay, B. Swins, welcome to the live stream. Says, preach on, brother. We know it, but it's comforting to be reminded. Yeah. Memphis says, that's where I did read this. I live 1,000 miles away from my daughter and her. The mother ignores all questions and requests. He says, I have in the sentence a certain number of Skype calls, and I get a total of 68 or 67 days a year of visitation. And I would imagine she probably tries to inhibit the Skype calls. And so then I'm going to jump to his questions. So she surpasses the Skype calls whenever she wants to, so it's so damn frustrating. She ignores all my questions about my daughter. Yeah, she is. And depending on what the custody is, if she has sole custody and it's not legal, if she has sole legal and sole physical, so that she legally doesn't have to answer your questions, then she's she's validated on it, right? Can anyone share experience with getting on a calendar for mediation forum? I don't want to derail. And then you say that she says, I do not put limits on my child's behavior as an excuse to restrict my visitation rights to the very bare legal minimum. Sorry about that. Yeah, unfortunately, Memphis, you're going to have to. It sounds like that's going to be a court thing, and if with them being 1,000 miles away, it puts you at the disadvantage because now you have to travel there for court and try to fight it. In that situation, man, that's tough. What I would say is, you question about my daughter, yeah, because mine wouldn't answer any questions either. Doesn't share information. Yeah, so unfortunately, you're kind of in a situation where, and it depends on. See, here's the thing: if the court order says that you will get Skype calls every Tuesday at 6, then she's violating a court order. If it says you can have those, you can have those Skype calls, when convenient, then you're screwed. So you're more than likely either going to have to ignore it and just get what you get. And I don't know whether you said you're actually getting the 67 days a year or whether that's being inhibited as well. Unfortunately, it looks like you're probably stuck. You either have to accept it and work around it, or you're going to have to fight it. And unfortunately, when it comes to visitation interference, you have to. It's a tough one because there's a cost associated with it too. So here's the deal, Memphis. If you can afford it and fight it, then you fight it. Then you try to say, okay, look, here's the deal. I'm sick of this. We're either going to play by the court order, which hopefully the court order doesn't give her wiggle room to basically do what she's doing, which it might. And if it does, then you're hosed. And then you either say, I'm going to take you to court for basically violating a court order, or if she's being unreasonable, you're going to take her back to court to get this resolved because this isn't right. I'm sorry you're going through that. I don't know if that advice helped or not. Oh, dang it. Remind me later. I got my little clock thing over here that's giving me grief. Okay, so I missed. So Blessrael says, thank you, Vanessa. I found out later in therapy that he was physically abusing the kids as well, and thankfully he gave us a 2-year protective order, or a 2-year no contact protective order on the kids in exchange for me not pressing charges. Oh, okay. So, I don't know. That could blow up in your face later, but 2 years of no contact, even with the kids, is helpful. Hopefully you have that documented so that whenever the 2 years is up, that you still have it as a negotiating ploy for a problem. But if he starts to try to exercise his visitation then or want more, you could probably push for supervised visitation and stuff like that, but it's going to be complicated. Savvy Dunn says, can anyone share the experience on getting on the calendar for mediation forum? I don't want to derail. My experience is you file a motion in court. They send you to mediation when you go there. That's one way to do it. Otherwise, you could contact a mediator and ask, or I think it all starts with a court order, though. I think even if you had an attorney, if there was going to be mediation, that they would push it. So that's a good question. I don't have an answer, so sorry about that. I didn't really help, so apologize for that. All right, so let's try to wrap this up. Oh, I am so far behind, and it's 8:10 already. So let's see here, guys. Let me try to let me just kind of zoom through this. So welcome, Trim Hits. Sorry, I'm not going to get to really read much of your stuff. I'm just going to try to zoom through this. Oh, Schaefer 123. Okay, so you know what? I'll have to do some more. Maybe what I'll do is I'll do a video on that read notify thing. Okay, so man, I'm sorry guys. I really got behind, and I actually need to shut down here soon. I didn't realize it was past 8. So okay, and wow, it just scrolled all the way up. The lifeline are very destructive. Okay, guys, so I've missed, so I fell behind. I apologize. But it's past 8, so I'm trying to look to see if there's anything that really jumps out. Oh, okay. Ooh, computer help. That could be helpful. I mean, I'm pretty good at computer stuff, but I'm not good at web stuff. Okay. Let me roll over. I don't want to leave your thing on there. Okay. All right, guys. So there we go. I think we had a really good stream, good discussion. I hope you guys liked the first part with the examples. If you're still here and you didn't see the beginning of it, I went through some actual emails from my ex and my thought process on how I discussed, or not discussed him, but went over thinking about responding and what I thought was what her approach was. And hold on a second. Remove. Okay. Sorry about that. I just got distracted on that. So anyways, yeah. So if you missed that, go back and watch that. I think it would be very helpful. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to jump in. I know I said I was going to talk about the forum, but this is what I'm going to say about the forum. If you go to the website and let me hit refresh on this and sign up for, is it A? Is it? No, it's 9. Sorry, I'm trying to remember my key codes, which aren't working. No, that's not the right one. That's the right one. So anyways, if you sign up for the newsletter, what I intend to do is get the forum, basically the shell of it up and running in the next couple days. I'll send an email out to everyone on the newsletter with the link to get into it, to let you know it's up. It'll be off of this website. It'll be another one of these tabs on the top. It'll say forum. At least that's the way I'm planning on doing it. And hopefully we'll have that forum up and running. I was hoping to have it soft open tonight. It was just a little bit more complicated than I thought. So I apologize for that. And yeah, there we go. So thanks for spending your Tuesday with me. We had a pretty good session. Since some of this scrolled off, I will go ahead and copy this. Chris, you put your phone number in there. I don't know if you really want that completely public, so let me know on that. And I'll see you guys on Tuesday for the next live stream. I'll have some new videos coming out. I don't know if I have one scheduled for tomorrow. There's a federal holiday in the U.S. this week, which I have my kids, so that could complicate Friday and Monday. But Tuesday, we'll definitely have another live stream, and I hope you guys are doing well. So on that, I'm going to shut it down, and we will chat with you guys later. Take care.